So now we are continuing our discussion on this topic, and we'll move to panel conversation, sporting directors in the winter window, exploring balancing speed and quality in January transfer. This panel is a master class in executive decision making. These sporting directors reveal how moving fast without losing control. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to have your attention because I'm going to present our panels. First panel is Cihan Elcicek. Please take your seat. Give one more round of applause for him. Cihan, you can. And my second guest is Tom van den Abbeele. Thank you.
Sit next to me.
Right now, so I'm going to sit on his side.
Yeah, sit.
I can sit down. Yes. All right, thank you very much. Very interesting topic. Really important people are from my side. From my right side is Cihan Elcicek. Cihan, would you like to present yourself, or you will like me to give a short introduction of you?
Okay, you can start.
Okay, Cihan is sporting director at Adana Demirspor in the Turkish Super League. After a 10-year professional playing career, he worked as a FIFA licensed player for a 4 year before he moved into the management. From my left side, ladies and gentlemen, Tom van den Abbeele. Am I right? Okay, great. Tom, would you like to introduce? Okay. Former youth coach, head of youth recruitment, international scout, and sporting director at several European clubs, including Club Brugge, PSV, Chelsea, and so on. Thank you very much for joining me here. So, I would like first to open with a general question and to ask you two just for opinion. What do you think in January window? Is it mainly a correction of summer mistakes or unavoidable reaction to injuries and results, bad results?
I think there's no correct question, or no correct answer, excuse me. It depends on different clubs, different circumstances. I always feel that clubs have the urge or the need to do something in a transfer window. But when everything is done correctly in the summer and you think you are well prepared and there are no injuries or inconveniences, then it might also be a good thing not to do a transfer, or maybe an internal transfer and promote an academy player. So, but if something happens, you never know. One player has a great couple of months, and a transfer is coming up. You of course you need to be prepared.
Thank you. What's your take on that, Cihan?
Actually, if I speak about from my experience, I had a team with a transfer ban, so we never had a preparation for the transfers. We cannot have a chance for the taking new players for the summer window or the winter transfer window. So we always has to focus the academy players. Always we keep in touch with the academy coaches, and also we are putting our first team coaches to watching their academy teams, the trainings and the games, and we have to always following their training sections, the games. Always we have to watch it. So we don't have the chance to bring any players, so we have to just focus the new players, and also we had a chance just changing the players' positions. So we have for example, right winger too much, left winger too much, but we had a problem about the injury problem at the right back or the left back. We have to use these kind of players to change their position, and also this is the good positive effect for the players, so they can play several positions. So this is the positive effect for our team and the players' career. So yeah, if I want to be like talking like the other sporting directors, we can make this kind of preparation, but I never work in this kind of chance. So we try to find the new solutions for our teams, and I can say it's actually positive affected for our team. So after these situations, this player has to push himself for the making their best.
Yeah, that's a really specific situation. We didn't met it still in our conference, but would you like to expand a little bit more about Demirspor?
Yeah.
Would you like to expand a little bit more about the structure and to actually answer the question what it brings to this kind of situation that is quite unusual and quite uncomfortable, where you have to be flexible about everything?
Actually, is the people, most people is from the watching the Turkish football is, I think, it's so common in the Turkish league. So too many team has a transfer ban, and the financial crisis it's always happen in the Turkish Super League. And also our team was Adana Demirspor a few years ago, one of the best team in the Turkey. I was worked as an agent. I worked with this club, and we bring too many star players for this club. And for example, İsmail Yüksek, Yunus Akgün, they are national team players with Mario Balotelli. Also, we bring to there as an agent Vincenzo Montella as a coach. Now he is the currently Turkish national team coach. Everything was so good, but there is not so instability for this club. Just there is only one decider, and there is only one owner at the club, and he give the decisions. So when the financial crisis is starting and players started to cancel their contract, so we just had a players is young players, unexperienced players. Is most of them just played third division, second division. But this is the chance for them because the Turkish Super League is the one of the most watchable league in the Europe. So they had this kind of chance, and they evaluate this very well. And I was there at the actually I was started in here at the January in the winter transfer window. So we started bringing the new coach staff because these players are so young, so they need the improvement. We bring a coach from the Manchester City as a Turkish coach, Mustafa Alper Avcı, and then we bring a quality coach staff for him, one goalkeeper from the Atletico Madrid Academy, and then we bring one coach from the Championship, Dean Holden, and we create good equipe, and this is directly affect all the players. When we can say this is the bad situation for the club, but it turned the advantage for the players because end of the season, 16 players left from the club, but 10 of them is stay still in the Turkish Super League. Some of them go to Saudi Arabia, some of them go to Italy, and they are with a very good salary. So we try to change these things to advantage for everybody. Also, the coach try to this challenge for in this bad situation. They come here, they affect for everything, and now they are working with very good clubs also. And also, this is the very good situation for the young players in the Turkey. When this kind of situation happen at the clubs, it's always the chance for the new players, for the academy players. They can see the opportunity, so they have to improve themselves. They are more active, more pushy. They want to be on the pitch. This is the one of the advantage of in this bad situation.
Just the conclusion. So you're just selling the players. You're not buying right now.
Yeah, we cannot.
All
We're
right.
just using the academy players when we got an injury situation or the bad situation. Or like we find a solution like this. We put some first team coach staff, the coaches. We put them to academy, so we are always communicated with the academy players and they're in their situation.
All right. Let's address now to Tom. Tom, thank you. Tom, you were working for PSV, and we all know that PSV have one of the strongest academy of the European leagues. Did you work with them? And can you share your maybe experience working in this academy? How these players are actually trained to take this lead after January and to jump in with that old pressure they're having on themselves?
I think PSV is a very well structured club. They have their second team playing in the second division. They even have a positive problem that they have too many good players, which of course is good for competition, and they need to fight each other to be the first in line. But something which is a bit maybe atypical than other clubs is that they only start the academy at the age of 12. So younger ages they normally don't have. They work with a couple of clubs around them where they can that every player can at a young age can stay in a local environment, and then they have a bigger pond to fish. They get them in at the age of 12, work really professionally. While we in Belgium were still working with amateur coaches in at the youth level, they already had professional coaches, and yeah, that you can definitely see in the end. So they work on a daily, day to day, with professional coaches, not just one coach, also physical coaches, video analysts, etc. From the age of 12 till the age of yeah. 18, and then they go to the second team. They have the opportunity to play at a professional level at a young age. Now we've seen in Belgium the same thing. There's 4 teams that have their second team playing at the second level, which gives opportunities to young, talented players to play in a professional league against men, and it only helps them in their process to become a professional player for the first team. And not all of them make it to the first team, of course, but most of them have a professional career. So if not in their own team, maybe in another team in the same division or in another country. But it creates opportunity. The key is, yeah, play as soon as possible competitive football in a senior league.
So in that way, how you stop for how you actually protect them being overburnt, playing on that highest level straight from the academy let's say from January directly into the season, upcoming season, when you have to solve out the problems already or maybe even make a better results and relying on them. How much do you rely? How much do you stop and protect, like know where to stop and to protect them from being overburned on the field?
I don't think they need to be protected. You need to follow up on the workload, etc., that they don't have any injuries. But I think in the second team, it's all about making progression, not really to winning games, but it's like a mix. Um, the upsides in both in Belgium and in the Netherlands is that the second team cannot go down. So that's a big bonus, of course. So, but it's all about making minutes, and the more minutes you have at a young age, the more possibilities you have and opportunities. If you know, and anyone knows if you need to sign a player with no minutes, it's hard, it's difficult to convince a club to get him in, even for a trial. But when they have played for 2 seasons, more than 1,500 minutes per season, doors go open. And there's enough data, video, or not a lot of opportunities to go and watch them and see how they perform.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll move a little bit to loans. I will stick to you still because Cihan has a specific situation, but of course we're going to continue with him as well. How heavily the work permit and sporting visa requirements influence your January priorities? Have you ever had a chance to abandon any kind of preferred player because of these regulations? And also in that way, do you rely more on your academy, or it's always profiled player the best one?
I think you should always have an idea on what kind of player that you want, whether that's in the summer or the winter. Winter is, for me personally, more like a period where yeah, if something happens, you need a short-term solution. So a loan is a perfect way then. To avoid all of this administration, it's a lot more simpler to say, okay, we just gonna look for European players, for instance, and of course also the legislation and the salary caps, both in Belgium and the Netherlands, is there's yeah, a difference, and which will sometimes also hold you back not to sign players from outside of the European Union.
Cihan, what's your opinion on that? Because you before had a chance actually to take the players, to put them on loans. Right now is this situation, as you mentioned, but before was the working everything fine as you were doing as an agent as well.
Yeah, mostly when I was working as an agent, also my agency company also worked with this club, Adana Demirspor, as an advisor. We are involved in all the transfer situations. Uh, with in this situation, the club was the new in the Super League, so they want to bring the, how can I say, the fans is waiting to too many times to play in the Super League, so they want to bring the very big names. So our strategy was like this. So uh, not like the PSV. PSV is they are bring the young players. They want to develop these players and they want to sell them to other big clubs. But we don't have this kind of vision. We just bring some big names, but they are in the last of their best seasons. So we just work on this mentality. Also, this is the in my opinion, this is the starting of the best situations, because these players just come for the big salary, and you cannot sell these players for the Europe to back or anywhere. So we just bring the players. We cannot take the transfer fee for these players. So always the next year we have to bring new this kind of players.
But why was that situation for brand awareness of Turkish Liga or brand awareness of your team or of your club?
It's kind of
More like
yeah,
that's
it's kind of
merchandising.
yes, it's from the Turkish Super League is a bit this kind of league. There is a few expect the team has a this kind another organization, for example, Göztepe. So one of them, Başakşehir is one of them. They have different mentality, but most of the Turkish club, when they go to the Super League, they want to bring the big names, but big salary, and they cannot sell these players another club. So just pay the salary, and this is not the instability situation for this club. And also, when we go to the Super League, when I was agent, this club mentality, like I said, uh, with these players and get the fans excited, fans expectation a bit. It's not just the club's mentality, because in the Turkey you bring some young players, some players can be development. The fans expectation a bit disappointed. Fans expected this kind of big names, the big monies, big salaries. So the clubs doing that because of the fans.
So the influence of media and the fans is pretty
Yeah.
aggressive there in
Yeah,
Turkey.
definitely.
Is that also case? I wouldn't say in Holland and Belgium. And how Holland and Belgium
Totally different mentality.
exactly, and this is a perfect to compare. And how would, by your opinion, would look like that if you follow philosophy of Turkish Super League?
Yeah, I'm of course not surprised. We hear these stories and we hear these salaries that are being paid in Turkey. It's yeah, a lot. And it's a completely different world. Yeah, we cannot compete with them in this way, of course. I think most clubs in Europe, or the clubs I work with, are all selling clubs. So it's all about taking potentials in, develop them, get them on the stage, and try to sell them on. Um, of course, it's I think it's a big problem with UEFA, with FIFA, that everyone should be working in the same environment, and financial fair play is yeah, it's a big word that has a lot of consequences.
All right, thank you. I would like to address the audience. If you have any kind of questions, please feel free to ask. We're going to start now with a subject when it comes to the agents, because you were agent before. So I want to ask you, in January window, do you trust more your internal scouting department or agent proposals? And what makes the difference for you?
For me, I think it depends. If you are working with the agent very long time, if there is no trust issue between you and him, and also too many, there's some agents, they are so powerful in their country, so you can dare to you can trust their work ethic and also their power in their country. So I think I think this more the easy way to work with the agents, because scouting departments is always changing because also in Turkey the coaching things and the board things is always changing. There is so you cannot continue with the same team. I think if you are very good communication or good connection with the all agents from everywhere, so you can use them at for example for winter transfer window, because you has to be quick. So if you are good communication and you are good business deals between this kind of agents, you can use them. Is more easier for the winter transfer window.
What about your experience, Tom? And also, when interests clash, whose voice is strongest? I mean, in your previous experience, you have really well-developed departments. So, who do you listen the most? The players, the agents, the sporting director? Who is bringing the final decision in your case?
In the clubs that I worked with as a sporting director, it became very clear that there's only one voice in the end that takes decisions, and that's the owner. You bring all the arguments to the table. You give him a proposal. You give him a report, your opinion, and in the end he will say yes or no, as easy as that. And sometimes it's very complicated when you work with Japanese ownership or American ownership or Italian ownership. The communication can be complicated or difficult. But in the end, it's always the owner that takes decisions, especially when it's about big amounts.
And when it comes to maybe some kind of not the best decision, and the owner approved it actually and enforced that, at the end, if that player is not showing the best results, whose fault is that afterwards? You can't say to the owner, it's your fault.
No, of course not. I think the sporting director is accountable. He makes a suggestion. But when does a player not perform? There's so many things that can influence it. It happens a lot, and you all have experience with it. When a player changes the color of his jersey, all of a sudden he becomes another player. So it's not only about the qualities of the player. It's a lot about, and I've heard it from other speakers as well, the character, the culture. It all has an influence, and you need to take it into account. What happens if an 18-year-old player comes from Morocco and he doesn't speak the language, he has another religion, he has other habits about food, etc. So you all have to take it into account, and you never know how it's gonna be. We don't have a ball where you can see the future. It's always a guess. It's about risk management. Try to take as less risks as possible.
But also bring me to another common situation. If you change a head coach, for example, and somehow in the middle of the season, head coach is not counting anymore, or that really important transfers you made, really expensive transfers you made, how do you handle that between?
It's something that you do upfront normally, but it's also when you have discussions with a coach, when you hire him, they always give you the answers that you want to hear. Yes, I'm gonna work with young players. Yes, I'm gonna do this. Yes, we have the same philosophy, and we're gonna play at attacking style. But then if you lose 2 or 3 consecutive games, the dynamics change, and maybe I want more experienced players, etc. So it's all about making a proper plan and sharing a vision and get everyone aligned. That's the most complicated thing, and stick to your vision.
Do you have any kind of example, maybe from Chelsea or PSV or Bridge?
The big names.
Let's see.
Do I have examples?
Have you brought some really important player and afterwards you see that it was failed transfer, or head coach generally didn't want to work with him that much, or maybe mentality of the player was also not predictable?
I don't think I have good examples, and again, it's all about communication, and yeah, in the end, you don't sign a player if your coach is not standing behind. Maybe I have one a small example, which was a bit the other way around. In NAC Breda, we were working with, we had four center backs, and one of them was the youngest one, an 18-year-old who didn't have any playing minutes whatsoever, and the coach was asking to get him on loan to gain experience, etc. We had a good discussion about it, and I told him, listen, we can do it. There are clubs interested in having him on loan, but you need to understand, I'm not going to bring in another player to fill in this position because, you know, alone it will be for 6 months. After 6 months, he will be back. I don't have any solutions on the short term to back this up. So we agreed upon it, and as the season continues, two center backs have an injury, so and one injury, one suspension, and he had to play. He played 13 games, and then he got sold when his transfer market value was 50,000 euros. We sold him for 2 million to Brighton, and now he's playing in the Premier League. So it's a lot about the opportunity that you get and the communication that you have internally with your coach to align everyone.
So if you want to conclude like that moment when what is actually characteristic in the leagues you've been working and you are working is that internal compliance alignment,
Definitely.
which is not the case in the Turkish league, where a hierarchy is strict. When you have a president who is deciding about everything, the ownership. Can you
Yeah.
expand on that?
Mostly the owners, especially owners, not the presidents, the owners of the clubs wants to be involved the transfer situation, and we are spending the most of the times not finding the new players to convince the owner this player is not fit for us. It's at the transfer windows. The when the president is the club is managing by the president, they will not prefer to involve this kind of situation that much. It's just the they can put the head coach. Also, it depends in the Turkey. Also, still, the sporting director position it's not works like Europe in the Turkey. Some clubs has the decision by the head coach. Some club has the decision by the sporting director. Some club like the vice president can be involved in this, and he is the decision maker. So it depends in every club, but mostly the owners always try to be involved in the transfer. They can send the players to directly the head coach. What do you think? Can I take this? The agents send me to this player like this. Also, this situation it makes complicated to everything because you make it some preparation for the transfer window, talking with the head coach for everything. Maybe you are agree with the one player, but the same position, the owner send the one player, and everything is collapse mostly. So you have to solve this problem. You have to convince the owner this player is not good for us. We spend our time mostly for this.
We spend the most of the time
Yes.
for that.
Yeah.
All right. So is that kind of need of owner to be a leader and decision maker?
Yeah, they want to be, especially in after the 1 year and the 2 years, they think yes, now
He
I
knows
have yes.
better.
The success is coming because not because of him, because of the equipe for all the board members, the coaching staff, the players. Then success is started to come in, and funds is the saying that the president, all the owners' name, they don't want they want to be more involved in all the things about the transfer.
All right. So my next question is also related to agents. Once when you were agent, how transparent you were with your sport directors and the entire team, and how much transparency is important? But be real, please, because we know transparency sometimes is not the best characteristic. And afterwards, I would like to involve the audience also. What do you think about that?
I think, of course, it has to be 100% because especially I want to talk about the winter transfer window. This transfer window is too short and there is too many things happen unexpected. So you cannot waste the time of the sporting directors or the clubs or the agents the most important thing is the time for this. So yes, it's a transparency, especially too important in our country. Finding the trusting partners is too hard things. If you lost your trust things between the sporting directors or the clubs, you cannot make the business with any club. This is the most important thing.
But you maybe lose the trust as an agent because
Yeah.
your player, which is sold, is not performing well. Not performing, but actually, I heard the case. He is changing opinion. He doesn't want to come anymore because maybe of private things, because of the family, and
Yeah.
then you lose your value and credibility in
Yes.
front of that. Well, did it happen to you?
Yeah.
Is it
Not
happening
for
to you
me,
as
but
well? That do you have issues with your with your players as an agent?
Başkan.
Başkan, please join. The question is, did somehow when you negotiated and when you created almost a transfer in the last minute happens that the players just wanted to quit? Can we get a microphone?
Well, obviously, I mean, I worked in Netherlands and also the Turkish league, so I can relate to many stories here. I would like
Great.
to push back on certain points. I think the effect or the impact of agents is not that different. I've seen both sides. I mean, especially in big clubs, also in the Dutch league. I don't want to name clubs or names, but especially after a coach moves to a big club in the Premier League, you see suddenly a lot of players moving with that transfer, etc. So I don't think the situation is that different. In terms of a last-minute cancellation, the worst story I had is we had a player, maybe Tom would know, Lisandro Semedo, back in 2017 when we promoted. We made an agreement to sell him to Premier League for a large amount, and of course the player was making a big transfer. The club had a Chinese owner. Now, Cihan also mentioned owners getting involved, but even the transfer agreement was signed, and the Chinese owner traveled to London. He fired all the management staff, and it's okay. These things happen, but you know what happened? The player went into a big depression. He couldn't recover from it. So these things unfortunately sometimes happen. Sometimes for regulatory reasons, visa, etc. But sometimes just arbitrary owner decisions, which I believe happen in Belgium, Netherlands, England, everywhere. This is not like a country-specific problem. The way we tackle this is like I've run a club for 9 years. We just set the budget. We call the sporting director. This is your budget. Let's say it's 10 million. You can buy 10 guys for 1 million or 2 guys with 5 million. We never ever interfered with a player decision, ever. So I think this is the only solution you can make. On the professional side, if you don't want to get this impact, you should not work for that club, honestly. Like if the owner is saying you need to sign this player, that player, then you come and become a coach, you become a director. I'm not working. But it's a double-edged sword, because then if you agree to work in those conditions, then you don't have the right to complain, in my opinion.
Thank you. Tom, can you share something with us about it?
Yes. Well, two things. First of all, signing a player is a long process, and sometimes it's months, sometimes it's even you follow him for 2, 3 seasons, and when the moment is right, you know you do what you need to do. So it's a long process, and when you're working for a club, you're juggling with a lot of players, with a lot of agents. So it's really it's a complicated business, and you don't want to inform the owner about all the things what are going on. That's, he will say, it's your job, right? So this process goes on for days, weeks, months, and then at one point you want to make the final decision and you inform the owner, and then it's a yes or a no. And most of the time, if you have an established relationship, he will follow. But it happens that it's also no. So all the things that are going on before, yeah, you need to inform the people about the decision that has made. And do you have a relationship? That's another question. Do you have a relationship?
You're asking me, do I have am I have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, I do. Why?
Complicated sometimes.
I keep it simple.
That's between two people. So a club and an agent, but then there's the player. So it's a relationship with three people. That's even more complicated. I have no experience, but uh, um, yeah, it's not easy. And when I made I asked myself the question yesterday, when you're dealing with all these agents and all these players, and yeah, if this happens, you are my first choice, but then maybe something else, the second choice, the third choice. You talk to the agent. The agent has a relationship with the player. Um, if they have a good relationship, they inform about the player, what is going on, and then all of a sudden the deal doesn't happen.
Exactly.
What influence does this have on the relationship between the agent and the player? So that's something that people in a club should be well aware of about. Yeah, a decision can have a huge influence on, yeah, even the career of an agent or a player.
So let's come back on that transparency. I assume there are cases when they are rushing a lot, also offering kind of deals they're not existing from the other hand, just to make it more even, how could I say, attractive for you, not to lose that player. So how do you deal with that? Do you not recognize if someone is playing that double game or triple game, or how you call it, triple?
You never know. I always try to be very transparent and direct, but sometimes it might not be a good idea. But at least I'm authentic to myself, and I keep everything open. I like to be, yeah, really transparent. Also the other way around, like everyone or some of you might use transfer room. Is a player for sale? Yeah, every player is for sale all the time. So do you put the players on for sale or not? What is your goal? Your primary goal is to win games or to sell players. It goes hand in hand. It's always balancing. But transparency for me is key.
What do you think about it, Cihan? And did you have any kind of examples from your side?
Of course, because we are always, everybody's always talking about taking the players. We have to keep the players because my players always ready to cancel their contract that was last year because of the problem of the salary. So we have to convince them to stay with the team at least until the last of the season. So you have to be most important thing, the transparency. You have to be honest and direct with them, and also convince them and also believe your project. You have to make them believe to the club, to coach, to the team. So I spend most of the time to keep our players at least end of the season. So this is the key. The things you have to be direct and open of the relationship, the communication, and all the time the players, because they are young and they are ready to confusing by their agents. They said you played this 10 games, 3 games, 5 games, and this club watching you, you can go there, and always give these kind of things. And we have to keep their mind is clear and the focus always on the pitch, always focus in the improvement. So yes, I transparency is so important with the players, especially in this case.
Do you have any kind of questions for our panelists? One question, please, over here. First row, gentleman in black.
Thank you, guys. I have a quick question for Tom. Because the number of Dutch and Belgian players who come to play in the Premier League, which is the most demanding league in the world, is really, really high. And many of them, they slot in without a big transition period. So why do you think this is? Is it the type of football that's played in Holland and Belgium? Is it the weather conditions are maybe similar, or the academies, the discipline? Why do you think there is this difference between these two countries and the rest of the world, I would say? Because per capita, probably like the highest number of players is from those two countries.
It's an interesting question and a good question, and I cannot answer it. It's very close by. It's you just cross the sea, of course. The weather conditions are unfortunately the same. I think a couple of clubs in both Belgium and the Netherlands are working really well. I think most of them come also through the same clubs going to England. So that might be something worth investigating, but I don't have any clear answer, I'm afraid. The big clubs having their second team playing at the second level, allowing young players at the age of 17, 18 to play professional football against adult people, probably have an influence on it. But that's not only in Belgium and the Netherlands. I see in France similar things. I see in Spain similar things. So Germany, I'm not sure, yeah, as well, the Regionalliga, etc. So I don't have any clear answer, I'm afraid.
Some more question, maybe? All right. So I would like maybe to start concluding this conversation, but I would like also to ask you, what's your opinion and how much foreign player quotas influence actually decision in a transfer market, especially when it comes to the winter transfer market?
Excuse me, can you repeat?
Yeah, foreign player quotas. How much actually influence? How many foreign players you can adopt there with all working visas, so on, and input into the team?
We have restrictions. In both countries, a bit different. In Belgium, you can actually play with 11 foreigners in the team. Actually, my former team used to play with 11 Ivory Coast player at one time, which was quite extraordinary. So in Belgium, at this point, you need to have 8 players with a Belgian a homegrown players. That means that you need to be 3 years in the academy before playing for the first team in Belgium. You don't necessarily need to have a Belgian passport for it. So 8 homegrown players in the squad, so they don't have to be on the pitch. They can also be on the bench. The Netherlands have a different system where they they do allow non-European players to come, but the salary cap is high. Why and this results in that only the big teams can afford to sign a non-European player. So that has an influence on it, but for the rest, I think it's an quite open market.
Do they like to adopt someone into the team who is completely different culture, completely different mentality, or that is usually not the case? You tend to avoid that.
It depends from club to club. It depends on the vision. It also depends on the finances. A lot of clubs struggle to give an apartment for a player, so they rather look local and give the chances to local players. When they invest in academies, it's normal that they can move on to the first team. But it's a mix. There's in PSV, for instance, it was really open. They targeted the South American market. In Belgium, some clubs are targeting the African market. So it's really it's open. But I see more and more clubs really focusing on a market rather than having the FOMO, the fear of missing out, and watching everywhere and watching a player from second division Peru and third division Poland, just to name two. So they're focusing, they do their homework up front, and they say, okay, financially, it might be a good idea now to go and watch in these areas, in these leagues. This could be interesting because we cannot afford any longer to go and buy players in Sweden, just naming a country. So they're really targeting and then following this strategy, and that has influence, of course.
And tend to create a great atmosphere in team like that. At least they're going to have Brazilians and they're going to match together, for example. Yeah.
This is a great challenge in a lot of clubs, and the bigger clubs, they have people to back this up, and player care. In England, it's coming up. Every club has a player care manager, but we have to be honest. In in Belgium and the Netherlands, again, the big clubs, they are ready for it, but you cannot take in and give the same example. A player from Morocco, 18-year-old. Different culture, different language, different food, different religion, and just here's your apartment, here's your key, see you tomorrow at training. It doesn't work like this.
Afterwards, after lunch break, we're going to talk specifically about African talents. I would like to conclude this, so we'll have a slightly longer lunch break. I would like to start with you. The final question. What would you like to change in January transfer window to improve decision quality?
Sorry?
What would you like to change in January transfer window overall so you would improve decision quality? Maybe less influence of the owner, or maybe something like that. What would you like to improve? Maybe data analytics.
Yeah, for me is one of the most important thing to using for the transfer decision, the data analytics. It's I think it's common in the the Turkish league clubs. The scouting system is a bit old-fashioned now. Everybody is looking for the new data analytics system. So we using it too, because every time we had a chance to maybe we can remove the transfer ban. We use the analytics for the choosing the players to fit for our system. We are always communicate with our equipe to working with our analyzing the guys. And for me is the best choice for the creating a new team. Especially you have to new really important target for the important positions. For example, this for choosing a striker, choosing the goalkeeper. The every team has some characteristic style, so you have to put this kind of players. You have to choose, and you have to believe to numbers, especially.
And when do actually analytics stop to be reliable? How much do you relying on that analytics? Is it more on your opinion?
For me, more important than the scouting things and the old-fashioned things, because every league has some characteristic playing style. Every club has some characteristic playing style. So you can see the more obvious when you looking at the numbers. Of course, to watching the players and know the players' character. Maybe some of them is come from the different culture. This is the other part of the things. You have to choose firstly this kind of looking for this kind of numbers, and the second part is that you can talk with the players and with his character and his if he can fit for your club or for your city. But you have to choose firstly with this kind of the numbers or the data analytics.
All right, thank you. What about you, Tom? When analytics in leagues as Belgium and Holland stop to be reliable, and how actually you're relying on them while you are in a winter window?
I will invite everyone to come at 16:30 to my presentation. I will tell all about it.
Okay. So last question, as I ask Cihan, what would you like to change in January transfer window to improve just decision quality? Was it from your experience or nothing?
January for me, sometimes it's all about emotion. It depends on where you are in the league. It becomes emotional. It needs you know, you're down in the league, you want to do something, you want to be, you want to get up the ranking. Opportunities sometimes, for me personally, but it's again, it's difficult because worldwide, not everyone goes from summer to summer. There's differences, but I would say one transfer window, 1 month to do everything, and you have 11 months to prepare. You do your homework well, and you don't have any influence. You start the season with the same players that you end the season. That's my opinion.
And thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hands. If not, we are concluding in this panel. And thank you very much. And thanks once again to Tom from my left side and Cihan from my right side for being on today's panels. We're going to proceed with one more presentation, and then we're going to have a lunch break. Please stay with us. Thank you. One more applause.